A clip featuring Britney Spears discussing her conservatorship for the first time in a TV interview has resurfaced 8 years later, offering a rare and poignant glimpse into the struggles she faced at the height of her legal battle. The footage comes from the 2016 episode of The Jonathan Ross Show, a popular British talk show where Spears appeared to promote her album Glory. At the time, the world was still largely unaware of the extent of Spears' personal and professional restrictions, especially concerning the conservatorship that had been in place for nearly a decade. While Glory marked a major comeback for the pop icon, the pressures of her legal situation loomed large, with Spears often unable to fully express herself, particularly in the public eye. Her team, under the strict guidance of her conservators, controlled much of her life, including what she could say in interviews and public appearances. During her visit to the Jonathan Ross Show, Spears, though enthusiastic about her new album, was still bound by the constraints of the legal arrangement that had, for years, dictated every aspect of her life. This led to a tense moment when she spoke candidly about the difficulties she faced in her career and personal life due to the conservatorship. Spears' comments about the conservatorship during this interview would later be cut from the broadcast, fueling speculation and curiosity among fans who felt they were being denied a deeper understanding of the challenges their idol faced. In 2023, Spears herself reflected on this in her memoir, The Woman in Me, where she recalled how she had even mentioned the conservatorship during the 2016 interview, but it was somehow omitted from the final edit of the show. I even mentioned the conservatorship on a talk show in 2016, but somehow that part of the interview didn't make it to the air, she wrote, hinting at the control that had been exerted over her public narrative. The never-before-seen footage, however, was finally aired on Saturday during an ITV special that celebrated memorable moments from the long-running talk show. The special, titled Special Guests, looked back at some of the most iconic interviews of the show's history, and for many Britney fans, this rare footage was a long-awaited revelation. The clip showed an unfiltered, emotional moment from Spears, one of the few times she publicly acknowledged the crushing weight of the conservatorship during that period of her life. During the interview, host Jonathan Ross asked Spears about her involvement in the making of Glory, noting that she was more hands-on with the album than in previous projects. "The new album, you are more involved in this musically, I understand, than previous ones. So you've taken control, you're more in control of your music than before? Why did it take you so long? Why did you wait till now to do it?" Ross inquired, highlighting the artist's newfound agency in her music. The pop star hesitated for a moment, appearing to carefully consider her words. "Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I won't get into the whole story," she responded, her voice trailing off. The uncertainty in her tone was palpable, a reflection of the internal conflict she must have been feeling at the time. Ross, understanding the sensitivity of the situation, gently interjected. He reminded Spears that the public was already familiar with many aspects of her past, including her very public breakdown in 2007, and reassured her that she didn't need to revisit painful or uncomfortable topics. "You don't have to go over things that you don't feel comfortable with," Ross said. This moment seemed to ease Spears, and she continued more freely. "Since the conservatorship, I felt like a lot of the things were planned for me to do and, being told what to do," she shared. "And I was just like, for this album, I want to make it my baby, and I want to do it myself, and I was very strategic about the way I did it, and yeah, that's why it means so much to me." The significance of this statement was not lost on viewers. In a rare public admission, Spears revealed the deep sense of control that the conservatorship had stripped from her for years. By the time of the interview, she had already been under the conservatorship for nearly a decade, with every aspect of her life and career tightly managed by her father, Jamie Spears, and other legal authorities. Her struggle for creative freedom, independence, and personal agency was something she had been fighting for silently, but this comment was a small but meaningful glimpse into the larger story of her struggle. The conversation shifted, and Ross asked her if she was happy and in a good place. After a brief smile, Spears responded with a simple but hopeful "Yes, sir." This was an affirmation, not just for her fans but for herself as well, signaling that, despite the challenges, she was moving toward a better place in her life. However, the public did not get to hear these poignant comments when the original broadcast aired. At the time, it was widely known that Spears' team had worked hard to control the narrative surrounding her life, and this particular interview was no exception. Despite the personal insight she shared, the segment addressing the conservatorship was excised before the show went to air. Fans who had been eagerly awaiting a more candid Britney were disappointed, but they had little idea just how much was being hidden behind the scenes. The reveal of the full interview in 2024 was an emotional moment for many of Spears' followers, who had long suspected that there was much more to her story than the public was allowed to see. The fact that the segment had been cut from the original airing in 2016 only added to the mystery and intrigue. Britney fans have long campaigned for her freedom, and this resurfaced clip only fueled that support as it showed a side of the singer that had been suppressed for years. Spears' reflections on her conservatorship were, at the time, a rare and public acknowledgement of her struggles. The conservatorship, which was established in 2008 following a series of personal and professional crises, left Spears with limited control over her life. The legal arrangement gave her father and others significant authority over her finances, career, and even her personal decisions. For many years, Spears was unable to make independent choices, whether in her professional life or in her personal relationships. This clip of her speaking out about her desire to take control of her career, to have ownership over her music, and to make decisions for herself was a powerful moment. Fans of Spears had already been calling for years for an end to the conservatorship, and in 2021, after years of legal battles and public pressure, the Free Britney movement achieved a major victory when the conservatorship was finally terminated. The moment represented not just a personal victory for Spears, but a broader cultural shift, as her story became a symbol of the fight for autonomy and freedom, particularly for women in the public eye who face oppressive systems of control. In her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, Spears described the toll that the conservatorship had taken on her, both personally and professionally. She recounted the years of manipulation and control, including how her every move was scrutinized and how her voice was often silenced. The 2016 Jonathan Ross Show interview was just one example of how her team had curated the public's perception of her, leaving little room for her to express herself authentically. In the years since the conservatorship ended, Spears has begun to share her story more openly, reclaiming her voice and identity in a way that was once denied to her. The airing of the previously unreleased footage was a bittersweet moment for Spears fans, who were thrilled to see the clip but also saddened by the realization that this piece of her story had been hidden for so long. It was a reminder of the constraints she lived under for years and how much her personal narrative had been shaped by others. Yet, in the face of adversity, Britney Spears has remained resilient, and this clip only serves to underscore the strength and determination that carried her through one of the most difficult chapters of her life. As the public continues to reflect on Spears' journey, the hope is that she will continue to find the peace and happiness she has long sought, both in her personal life and in her music career. The Jonathan Ross Show clip is just a small piece of the larger puzzle, but it offers invaluable insight into the challenges Spears faced and continues to overcome on her path to reclaiming her voice in her life.